in the AM with Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck.
And we hit you on the final Monday of February and game day for Louisville basketball as they start their final scheduled series of the regular season at the Air Force Academy on a Monday that saw you maybe catch some Aggie football over the weekend as well as some basketball. And Louisville baseball got started, a cornucopia, if you will. And maybe the biggest highlight of all was the rally for APS athletics at the APS Albuquerque Public Schools headquarters yesterday for students, parents, people who want your kids to play as well. What's good, Monday? How you living? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal. Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck. What's up, man? How was the weekend?
The weekend was actually fantastic. We hosted our 9-year-old niece for a couple days, so Austin had an absolute blast. Did a little bit of sledding, and like you said, watched a bunch of stuff, and boy, oh boy, it doesn't matter the circumstances. If you get ran out the building, people are not happy.
And you're talking about
New
what
Mexico
specifically?
State football.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable seeing the reaction to the game. Did New Mexico State look good? Not at all. They struggled to tackle, a lot of self-inflicted issues, but this is a team that had not played a football game in 450 days. But if you take to the social media, this was a career/program defining game for some people. It caught me off guard, but there are a lot of people that it doesn't matter the circumstances. If you go out there and play like that, they're not going to take it.
So New Mexico State got beat by Tarleton 43-17. Tarleton, a soon-to-be member of that new WAC football FCS conference. They are an FCS team that ran the Aggies out of the Sun Bowl. The Aggies had 17 points. One of their touchdowns came on a kickoff return. They gave up 501 yards to only 241 yards. They gave up 249 yards on the ground. They lost every statistical category. But I'm not gonna lie, JJ. Honestly, I didn't see any of it. I did not see one speck of the reaction on the social media. So I'm going to yield to you and help me with it. I'm going to imagine what it was, but obviously people don't care that this was some spring outing in late February that really doesn't mean anything, but maybe it does mean something.
This game is just to give the players that are there right now, that are practicing, an opportunity to play football and go into the summer with at least 2 football games under your belt. It's a preseason contest for New Mexico State. But there were some people, I had someone tweet at me last night after I put out there, I was like, I can't believe some of the reaction from folks. And someone was like, that's the worst Aggie football game I've ever seen. Wow. He's like, I've seen a lot of bad ones, and that was a bad one. And I think people can understand the circumstances, but when you get beat 43-17 by an FCS football team, it doesn't matter what the situation is around the game. The fact that you're just kind of playing it to play it, people were not pleased with what they saw on the football field yesterday.
So I went into this honestly wondering where people were going to be, how much they were going to care, because the Aggies did not play in the fall, because they did not play when everybody else played. So what would this mean to you? If you went out and beat Tarleton and they get the Highlands game was canceled, so they'll play Dixie State in 2 weeks, would it matter? And if you got beat by them, would it matter? And I know typically in September, or if you play them in November, if you get run off the field by Tarleton, I think people are going to be upset. Tarleton's a pretty good program, actually a really good program at the FCS level, really good FCS program. But they were an FCS program, and New Mexico State is a Division I independent program. Tarleton played last week. I know they played last week because they were on bad beats. That's how I know they were on, or they played last week. I think they played Abilene maybe. I'm not even sure. But on the second play of the game, and this is just now they're making the transition. Remember, as their second as a full-fledged Division I member, their quarterback took off for 70 yards, and then their next play, they went for another long touchdown. It was bang, bang. It was bad. Now, look, personally, I, too, have seen a lot of bad Aggie games. I called a lot of Aggie blowouts over the years. But I guess I didn't walk away feeling, damn, drop the program kind of bad. I mean, it's I looked at it as a program that probably wasn't playing with, well, certainly wasn't playing with everything they had. They were playing with last year's eligibility, not anything that you're going to, well, not everything that you're going to see next year. But yeah, 43-17 did concern me as I walked away from that, just getting run out of the built and not being competitive.
I had zero expectations for this game. It's just pretty much getting a chance to get on a football field, and going, like, when you get beat that badly, it doesn't matter, and that was evident yesterday. The circumstances surrounding it, but it's one that, to your point, Tarleton has been on the football field. This isn't just something that they only practiced a week or two just to play this game against New Mexico State. Yeah, it's an FCS team, but there are some people that just didn't have any idea what was going on. Some people are acting like this is Tarleton State's first ever football game. Like, oh, they're a transitioning member. No, they're just going to the WAC. Like, they're just going to the Western Athletic Conference to play football. This wasn't just a newly created football team. Yeah, they beat up New Mexico State badly, but to your point, there are a lot of players that New Mexico State is counting on that weren't able to play this game. Now, does that mean it's 43-24 differently? Who knows? But Doug Martin said after the game, of course, Eli Johnson, the center, the transfer from Ole Miss, wasn't able to play. He said most of their prominent secondary players couldn't play in this game, and they ended up playing pretty much everyone on the roster anyway throughout this contest, because this is what these two games are for, just to let your roster play some football games and then go into your summer lifting program, hit fall practice, and hopefully you can play a schedule next year, unlike what you're able to do. 450 days without a football game. That's what a team is going to look like not playing football for 450 days.
We're going into it. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. While I knew that this was an FCS team against a FBS team, if you'd have asked me, and I don't even know that you did, who's going to win, I would have picked Tarleton to win this game. Would you have not picked Tarleton to win this football game on Friday, on Saturday, on Sunday morning?
Yeah, I don't think it would have shocked me if it was a close game. Now, it's shocking that it's how bad New Mexico State looks, but I can take a step back and look at the entire situation, and you realize how weird this season has been. And I think a lot of people, too, there is also reaction just from people that aren't in this state on this game, probably don't understand what the last 4 to 5 months has been for New Mexico State. That's where they didn't take the football field until... When was the first day of practice? Was it
it was 3 weeks ago, February 2nd or something like that. Whatever. Yeah. It was 3 weeks-ish. Yeah.
So pretty much 3 weeks to get ready to play a football game with nothing else that happened before that. Maybe you lifted some weights, did some bicep curls, got a couple squats in there, but nothing. So you take a step back, you take in the whole situation, and you're like, oh, that's a bad result, but it's understandable for some people. They were looking at this as just more of the same for New Mexico State.
Well,
and they're looking and they're giving you that side eye going, yeah, that head coach. See ya.
Well, you're not going to fire him after this spring season. Look, I mean, with all due respect,
people are saying that. It's insane.
I mean, they may get beat by Dixie State in 2 weeks, and Doug Martin's going to be your. I've got to believe, right? I mean, Mario's not going to say, "Wow, we got blued out by 2 FCSs in February and March, and so we're making a move." I just can't see that. Is Jonah Johnson their quarterback? He's the transfer from Fresno City College. He went 17 for 31, 187 yards through 3 interceptions, and on the ground ran for 27 yards. Is he the guy, or is there somebody in the new class? And I ask this because I just don't know, and maybe I should. But in this most recent recruiting class, who will compete for the job next year? Because obviously he didn't look good.
Well, Doug Martin said after the game that Johnson will get another opportunity, but you're going to see multiple quarterbacks in game 2. So what that tells you is it ain't decided.
Yeah, obviously. Aggies turned the ball over 3 times on interceptions. They gave up big plays. I guess I looked at it. It's fun because it was an evening game, right? So the game started at 3. It ended a little after 6. I made some dinner and actually was first, like the first school night, I think. I mean, knock on whatever. This is wood, actually. The child's going to school this morning. She's getting up here in a bit, and she's going to real live school for the first time, and she knows the 300 and whatever days. So I didn't look at the social media last night. I'm going to tell you, my feel was, damn. I mean, like that's a bad loss. That hurts. But I didn't know that I expected anything much better, and so I mean, to me, it was like, ouch. Losing to an FCS period is a bad look. 43-17 is a bad look, but they haven't played in 450 days. What did you expect? It's not like that was a great team to begin with, right? They were coming off a 2-win season, if I recall, 2 seasons ago, and so what did you expect? I guess I didn't lose my mind over it, but maybe I should. Is that what you're telling me?
I don't know if you should, but the Aggie fan base definitely wasn't handling it just like a walkthrough type of game, which it pretty much is these two contests for New Mexico State. And Tarleton State, by the way, they played it up themselves. There was a little celebration post-game in the locker room. They presented the game ball to the coach. So they were enjoying it. So if you're an Aggie fan seeing that on social media, then looking at that final score, ouchie indeed.
Well, the other side of that is, if you're going to play the game, what did Herm Edwards say? You play to win the game, right? And so the other side of that is you're Tarleton and you just moved up from Division II to Division I FCS, and you just beat an FBS team, and you beat them 43-17. That's a big deal for your program, right? If the Aggies would have had a scrimmage, and let's just say they played, I don't know, pick a power, let's say Indiana. Let's just say UConn. UConn didn't play, right? UConn was in the AAC, and now they're independent. Let's say the Aggies would have played UConn and beat them 43-17. That would have been a nice celebration in the locker room, right? Jay Pole's shaking his head like, no. You play to win the game, and so your perspective is, well, we got beat 43-17. I mean, Doug after the game, and again, I got to go back and look at his post game, but I got to believe I saw one soundbite. I got to believe his demeanor was what I saw was, damn, we just got shell shocked, and I don't think he saw that coming.
No, he's definitely frustrated with everything that was going on. I think in that moment, he was trying to take a step back and look at all the factors for his football team while also being just really disappointed at that final score.
Well, I guess. All right, Aggie fan, I want to hear from you. So what did that mean to you? You got run out of the Sun Bowl. You got run out of your own state to go get run out of your de facto home building by playing in your opponent's state, but closer to your place. 43-17. 505-246-0610 is where we are. Lobos tonight against Air Force. After we got to talk about Friday night's game. They were down 21-0. You want to talk about disgusted? At that point, I was just like, what am I watching? And my phone blew up about the worst Lobo team ever. And by the end of that game, it was kind of a different field for a lot of you, although it was somewhat the same. We got to get into what the Aggies did over the weekend. They split again. Lobo baseball. We got a ton of stuff. A full show for you. 505-246-0610. That's how to get in. Your emails come in, Jeff at sportsanimалabq.com, JJ at sportsanimалabq.com. Glad you're with us. We'll talk some Lobo hoops and obviously Aggie football quite a bit on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Get a little closer. Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what he'll just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way. He's going to fire at the buzzer, and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much. Tie in the district. Inside, fly, Eagle.
Chavez uses some athleticism And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this, stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Couldn't have said that any better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another one.
steal at the buzzer. Back to back for Chavez.
To the paint. Medina from the volleyball lines. Medina wants another one from deep. Oh, he wants 10. Give him 10!
Lewis finds Watson. He's going to finish. One-handed slam. Vista, but just all the different scenarios we could see potentially play out ahead of the state tournament.
Hill, the senior pops.
Oh! Ho, ho, ho!
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales. The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Our little basketball tonight over on News Radio KKLB. Lobos begin their final scheduled series of the season. They will play Air Force at the Air Force Academy, coming off a 79-67 loss on Friday in that same building, Clune Arena, to Wyoming. Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck. Micah's producing for you on the radio side, J Pole on the TV side. You can watch it on ProView Networks every single day. Of course, just go to our Facebook page, the OD in the AM. JJ, Friday night's game, Lobos and Air Force, when they were down 21-0. I don't know what you thought, but it was like at that point I'm thinking, this is in a season of lows. What am I watching? 21-0. 34-6. And then they come all the way back and get to within 2 points. And I swung from what the hell am I watching to what the hell am I watching, right? Like maybe the worst effort I've ever seen to honestly one of the better efforts I've seen to get back in a game. And Paul said after the game, they had no reason to fight and get back in. They had every reason to give up. I mean, they had reasons. They had reasons of pride. They had reasons. I don't know if you've ever been on a floor. I don't know that I have ever been down 21-0 in a basketball game. But getting paddled isn't fun. And so that plenty of reason to come back and fight. They almost won the game. They didn't. And so, I mean, the bottom line is they lost the game, 79-67, but got to within 2. I didn't know how to walk away from that game. Was I supposed to go, wow, what a great effort. Man, they really are fighting. They didn't quit on this. And it's kind of what I took because I'm dying to find something positive, I think, at this point about that Lobo basketball team. So it kind of, I don't want to say erased, but at least usurped the feeling that I had at the beginning. Because, I mean, at the beginning, my phone was blowing up, and I'm going to guess yours was too, of people just, the same people who were disgusted now were vomiting.
It was definitely a weird feeling on Friday night. Coming out, the effort defensively wasn't great early. The offense, at this point in time, it's to be expected. They're a bad shooting team, and a bad shooting team also, on the flip side, is not going to be good at shooting free throws. It's like a sheet of ice over the basket in the first 10 minutes for the Lobos. Ultimately, at one point in time, where they're just 1 of 12 from the field, to your point, it was 21-0, then 33-6, so the largest deficit was 27 points in that first half. But then they come back, and I come out of that game with the same feeling. Like, this team can play really hard. It's not always pretty, but there's just some deficiencies on the squad that it doesn't matter. Kind of put John Wooden on that bench right now. They lack in certain areas. But when you saw that team in the second half, they were just playing basketball. They were playing hard defensively, and it wasn't like some magic pill. It was they would drive inside. There'd be some cutters to the basket, nice pass, finish at the rim. Like, wow, sometimes it can be that simple. Just attack, pass when the defense collapses, and score inside. And then it led them to what that was a 31-12 run in the second half that got it within 2. And, of course, after the game, they said they just ran out of gas, etc. And they just missed shots. Like, you got to a point where then you were trying to take some tough jumpers to get back into it, and you weren't hitting those shots. And then
they tightened up on the other side, I think, at that point, too.
And then Wyoming was able to see the game out after that.
Yeah, I think they tightened up. I saw your tweet at that point. Like, where have these been? Like there were honestly in that second half, and I started watching peripherally. I mean, I was just so over it. There's not a moment that stands out to me in that game, and I could go back and watch it, but I was watching peripherally until I went, whoa! Like, where we were FaceTiming my mom, and the game was on in the background, right? But I'm watching an offense that honestly I hadn't seen. Right, you were talking about where are these back cuts? It was an efficient, dare I say at times impressive. I mean, the offense was nice for a while, and you're like, where has this been? And it makes you think, okay, so it's there. It's certainly instilled. It's within capabilities. Where is it, and why is it so omnipresent?
Right, it's when you're sitting there going, well, you're down 21-0. Where were some of these just attacking the rim, getting cutters off the basketball? And this works so well for this team, just the way they're made. Like, play, get the ball inside, whether it's to a post player or have one of the guards get it in there, then make a play, get some momentum going towards the basket. I've looked at this team all year long and just figured, all right, they can't shoot, so everything just has to be going downhill. And you finally got some of that in the second half, which led to some open baskets, some tough finishes at the rim, and then you see some shots go down, and what happens? You pick up your defense a little bit more, as they did. But for me, yeah, the start was like, I was sitting there wondering in the first half, is this going to equal or be the worst loss this team has?
Right.
When you're going back and you're looking at some of the games they played, Boise State, Utah State, but you're like, is this going to be actually worse? It wasn't. Fought back. Made it a 2-point game at one point in time, but then couldn't hit the jumpers to get it over the top. So I came out with the same feeling I have with this little basketball team. It's pretty much the good job, good effort kid just screaming in the background.
Yeah, there was some really sickening feelings this weekend watching New Mexico sports. I mean, with the Aggie football game yesterday and that first half on Friday was sickening. Watched the Lobo baseball give up 2 runs in the bottom of the ninth to lose to Gonzaga on Friday was tough. It was a tough weekend. Watching the Aggies kind of crumble on Friday night, lose their first game of that series to Utah Valley before coming back and winning their second game. Worst look. First half of New Mexico Wyoming on Friday, or the totality of New Mexico State Tarleton yesterday in football.
Probably have to go football just because you've
right.
seen the resume to this point for Lobo basketball.
Yeah, and because that was a final, because that was total, because that was the entirety. At least Lobo basketball came back and made it respectable. I mean, that's what we're at now, respectable losses as opposed to getting blued out of the build. But 21-0, 34-6, you're sitting there just going, why? And I'm sure a bunch of you tuned out. I mean, I'm sure. Like, you can only take so much. and that's where you were. I want to get into the Aggie stuff too. Aggie basketball. There's such an interesting, weird dynamic. So they have lost all of their. The WAC is playing Friday, Saturday doubleheaders. Back-to-backs. They're not doubleheaders. They're back-to-backs. And after getting swept by Grand Canyon, so it'll make them, 4 and 6, right, in league play. They've lost on Saturday and then lost on Friday, won on Saturday against, is it 5 and 3? Is that what 3 and 5? 3 and 5. So they played 4 series with Tarleton coming up this week and then Dixie State. So they lost the first game against Cal Baptist, lost the first one against Seattle, lost the first one against Utah Valley, and came back and won the second one. Utah Valley's nice. Their big is pretty good. There's interesting bigs in this league, actually. Watching Cal Baptist a little, watching Utah Valley, there's some interesting bigs. And it's interestingly enough, where the Aggies have historically been good, they're not. That's not where they're really good. But when we come back, JJ, I don't know how much of that you watch, but I want to talk about what they did in the second half. And do you still feel that that's a team that can make a run in the WAC tournament as you watch more and more what the WAC? And the question I'm going to pose, and I've certainly got my feelings on this, has the WAC caught up to New Mexico State, or has New Mexico State kind of come back a little bit to the WAC? And I've got my thoughts on that. We'll discuss that next. 505-246-0610 if you want to get in on that. 888-922-0610. Aggie football fan, want to hear from you. Lobo basketball fan, here we go. Tonight is I don't think it'll be the final series. We'll read you some of the thoughts that are going on around the league. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, The Sports Animal.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot on by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
Over this first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return.
Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it.
They're really...
Oliveris. Wild 3, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hidon. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hidon. The 2-hand hammer by Hidon. I knew he was going to put that one down. ProView Networks tonight.
District matchup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh! Big Barton, watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Dumas Sanchez in the corner.
Back to Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win.
He got it!
It's good.
Oh my God!
on a last-second shot. He did. Oh my God! Banks it in from 25 feet, and watch the celebration right in front of us. What a shot by Barton. He was double-teamed, and somehow found a way to get it in. Ramos to Gaxiola, high window for the win. It's good. It counts. Gaxiola with the game winner for a Driscoll Heritage.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in. He got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Tarleton this week, and then Dixie State next week. After splitting over the weekend at Eastwood High School, they lose on Friday night 69-66 to Utah Valley, and came back and beat the Wolverines 67-60 on Saturday. Aggies are 3-5 in WAC play. And so I asked you before the break, as the league caught up to the Aggies, or the Aggies come back to the league, and JJ, I'm gonna go a little bit to the latter. I think the Aggies have come back, and I really believe that in large part is because they were shut down for a month and a half. I thought, I look at what they've got, and I think if you give everybody that straight start like in a normal year, I think New Mexico State, while maybe not undefeated in this league, because I do think Grand Canyon has gotten a lot better. And look, two things can be true at the same time. I think the league has made improvement. I think Utah Valley's a nice team. I think Cal Baptist has been coming for the last 3 years, and I think Grand Canyon is better. And so I think those three teams that they played, the Seattle thing I'm not sold on as much. That was a loss that was really disappointing. But I think Grand Canyon's gotten better. Just watching what Utah Valley's got, they've got players, they got bigs, and Cal Baptist is better. But I think, to me, the Aggies have come back a little, and I really believe that's because of the circumstances they were dealt by COVID and certainly by this state.
I'm going to agree with you on that one. I think New Mexico State has taken a step back as opposed to the conference catching up to them. I do believe there's some teams that have definitely, as you just mentioned, gotten better overall. I think we've been waiting on Grand Canyon too. You wonder if that was the second or third series New Mexico State played as opposed to the first one coming out of their pause in conference play. Do they at least get a split out of that one? But also, you're starting to put a little bit down on film, and we're getting a sense of who this Aggie team is this season, what they're going to be. And I think the percentages have dropped just a little bit. Like, not 100% all in on, this team's going to figure it out. Are they going to go win with most people still thinking that they're the favorites in Las Vegas? Yeah, because of what they've done. But you don't get a chance to come back the next day if you lose on Friday. Like, that's the difference. It's one and done in the conference tournament, and how they're starting these series the last 2 weeks is very concerning. It was a 3-point loss on Friday night, had an opportunity, missed a game-tying shot attempt in there, but they struggled to shoot the basketball. Both games against Utah Valley. Utah Valley shot 57% and then 42% in a loss. And for New Mexico State, they actually shot worse in their win than they did on Friday night, 38% from the field on Friday night and then 36% from the field on Saturday. So it's just the element of defense, playing tough basketball, which is what you expect from New Mexico State, but they're having some issues finding some consistent offense. I think seeding is going to be a little bit too, right? I mean, what are you going to get for them? I think the next four are pretty important for them to win. You're saying, well, Jeff, what's the big deal? I think if you can start off, there's going to be 8 teams, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Chicago State's out. You've got to sweep Tarleton. Tarleton's 2-6 in the league and 7-9 overall, and then you've got to sweep Dixie State. And if you do that, you move up into the top half, and then you can open up with one of those two teams.
And I think that's a big deal because right now, the Aggies are in 6th place in the WAC. 3-5 is below 2-3 Seattle, and it's UTRGV who's 2-0. And they when Lou Hill died, their coach, they've been on pause. I don't know what the WAC's going to do. I don't know how they're going to seed that for a team right now. Do you know something that I don't know about when UTRGV is going to start playing and how they're going to handle it?
UTRGV played yesterday.
Okay.
They played like Dallas Christian, so they got back on the basketball court, but they're not going to catch up, of course, in conference games played. So I'm not sure what the WAC scenario is going to be to get them in terms of games played average. Like the Mountain West is potentially looking at just adding losses to your record if you didn't catch up. So I'm not sure what the WAC is going to do in that case, but you're right on. It's the opportunity is there for New Mexico State to at least give themselves a much better chance in the opening round in WAC Vegas.
Yeah, if they can find themselves is a 4-seed or better, where they'll open up against hell, I'll take my chance against Seattle, honestly, but go Dixie State or Tarleton or something along those lines. And I honestly don't know how good UTRGV is. They're 9-4 overall, 2-0, but let me see, and Lord knows where their heads are after what happened with them. So I think the next 4 are really big for New Mexico State to go out and sweep games and start thinking about seeding. You know, there was part of me that said it doesn't matter. I was telling you, the Lakers, it doesn't matter. The Nets, doesn't matter where they're seated. Give them a run. I don't think New Mexico State is that this year in the WAC. I think in a normal year they might be. I don't know that I want them opening up against, honestly, Grand Canyon, Utah Valley, or Cal Baptist. Take your chances on Friday instead of Thursday, especially the way they played. Really interesting read that you turned me on to this morning on what the Mountain West is going to do as far as seeding, as far as makeup games. Scott Ziegler, who is the San Diego State beat writer for the Union Tribune in San Diego, or Mark Ziegler, sorry, wrote his column, and in it, he mentioned that the Mountain West athletic directors met Thursday. They're going to meet again early this week in regards to what next week is going to look like and also how to handle some of these games that have been missed. A couple of things that are in there. One, he said the majority of the games that are not made up, from what he's hearing, are going to be no contest except for the 2 New Mexico San Diego State games, which he is saying there's a good chance they're going to be classified as forfeits, correct?
Yes.
Which would, if San Diego State then could sweep Boise State, could give San Diego State a share of the conference championship. That would put them at 15-3. I don't know that they're going to sweep Boise State. That's going to be terrific basketball coming up, by the way. Those 2 teams are playing really well. The other thing is, he's talking about makeups next week. Why? He said San Diego State's not going to play UNLV. Why? Like I didn't realize you had an opt. It could hurt San Diego State. I didn't realize that you get an option of, well, we don't really want to play.
I think you can have a say, but the Mountain West ultimately will have that final decision because it's one, well, sure, UNLV's a tougher opponent in that situation, but then you flip it to Colorado State, and what you'll get to in a second here is they're pushing to play New Mexico because they feel that gives them a better chance at winning a regular season title. But that also does nothing as play Nevada. At least that solidifies a little bit the back end of their overall resume. So playing New Mexico does nothing but give you a chance to win the conference tournament because it's not like Colorado State. We're talking about the regular season championship, because Colorado State's in a situation where they got a flimsy resume, and they're not sitting there going, "Oh, we beat New Mexico twice. We're in the NCAA tournament." No.
Yeah, and the issue with them is they haven't played in forever, and so they've been sitting on that bubble, on both Lenardi and Jerry Palm's bubble, and sliding the wrong way because everybody else is moving and they're not. They get Air Force later this week, so. Colorado, the talk in what Ziegler is saying is they would rather play New Mexico because in the history of their program in this league, JJ, I didn't know this, but they have never had a share of a regular season conference championship. And so they feel if they beat Air Force twice and New Mexico twice, they'd be 15-3. They would have at least a share of the conference championship. The only one that could do better would be Boise State if Boise State sweeps the Aztecs. Okay? If San Diego State gets the 2 wins as forfeits against New Mexico and then sweeps Boise State, then they would tie at 15-3, and I'm not sure how they would break that tiebreaker because they swept each other. Then you probably go down. I would probably be because the Aztecs will get it because of their sweep over Boise State is the 1 seed. Colorado State, according to the story, would rather play New Mexico. Now, New Mexico is a 306 net ranking. To your point, does 0 for their resume. It helps them win a conference championship. Define quad 2. Would Nevada be a quad 2 win? Do you have to be top 100? Because Nevada's 103, right? Do you have to be top 100 to be a quad 2? Because beating Nevada would be more impressive. But JJ, with all honesty, if Colorado State went to Nevada next week and played that team who's playing pretty well, do you think that they would beat Nevada twice? Because I do not. I think Nevada would clip them at least once.
Yeah, I can see that. I'd lean towards a split in that scenario.
And so a loss to a 103rd net ranked team, would that push them the wrong way off the bubble? And so they've got, I don't know if they've got a decision to make. They've got a request. They've got a decision on the request. And then does New Mexico have the right to say, yeah, we're good. We don't want to play them? Like, it sounds like San Diego State doesn't want to play UNLV. San Diego State's looking for a game against Houston or a game against, I mean, there's been so much talk about them playing Gonzaga. I'm so tired of listening to that talk all year. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening if Gonzaga's questioning potentially playing in their conference tournament.
Right. But what does it do for them? San Diego State's not looking for a game when there's a series to me, baby. That's the one thing I'm struggling understanding. Do you understand how they can just say, yeah, no, we're good. We're not making up. We got a week that was put on the schedule to make up these series, but we're good. We're not going to make them up. Like, do you understand how that I don't understand that.
Right. The challenges of going, well, if New Mexico did it, what if we just say we want to break before the conference tournament?
Yeah, we need
and then
a
you just get a bunch of people like back and forth on a conference call. Like, really?
Well, but if those New Mexico games are going to be called forfeits, then you can't do it.
And then you come back at them and go, well, are you forfeiting these games then?
All right, we'll play them. Yeah, and I don't know if Vegas wants to play them either, for that matter. You know, I don't know where everybody's heads are at this point. Do people want a week off? I mean, where I sit, now I don't sit in the locker room. I don't sit within their bubbles, so to speak. But if this week was put on the schedule specifically to make up lost series, it feels like that you're not asking teams if they want to make up series. You're telling them where and when they're playing. A, to make up the television revenue of games that you lost, which obviously is significant to everybody, and B, because you're playing basketball. Because this is the decision. There's a quote from John David Wicker, the athletic director at San Diego State, in the column, and before the season, this is how they determine things. This is what they decided it was. It's like in football. That's why Hawaii got a bowl bid instead of San Diego State, because it was a predetermined criteria and they had to stick with it. Hawaii, according to their league rules, finished ahead of San Diego State in their criteria. It's the same thing that they're doing here. You said we're gonna play games. I just don't understand how you opt out.
It's a situation to you question where is everyone. Obviously, programs are in different places. I'm sure if you ask Colorado State, guess what? They want to play those games because they want
to win a championship.
More lost, and thus they want to win a championship. So they're floating. Yeah, we'll take the Lobos in this scenario. Hey, just saying. However you guys want to do it, but we're interested in this. And other schools like, whoa, we can do this now? Well, let's start. We'll play this team, and yeah.
Yeah, and they're already right down the road. I mean, they could just come on up after just keep them there for another month, and I know. All right, 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. When we come back, will you give us an update on the ladies? Are they ever playing again?
Yes.
All right. Because they're almost kind of out of sight, out of mind. I mean, what was the last time they played? So we'll get into that when we get back. Aggie football fan needs your thoughts on 43-17 to Tarleton yesterday as well. Winter is not good for your vehicle. It's not good for a lot of things. It's not good for your skin. It's not good for your vehicle. It's not good for the paint job. Just like your skin, cold air pulls the moisture right out of it. Right out of the paint. Makes it easier to chip. The sand, the salt, the dirt, it sits there for months. That's bad for your paint as well. And the problem is You don't have time to clean it. I don't either. And standing out in the cold and dealing with it isn't all that fun. Nobody wants to wait in line at those big car washes, so I got a way, 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 way better idea for you, and it's on-the-spot automotive detailing. You don't have to take the vehicle to them. On-the-spot comes to you, at your home, at your office, wherever, whenever it is convenient. They give it a thorough cleaning inside and out, and then the stains, the spills, the stink, the pet hair, it's all gone, detailed, like the day you took it off the lot. Those big car washes have hundreds of vehicles go through them every day, and unless they keep those brushes clean, they can scratch your paint, and they usually are done within 7 minutes. 7 minutes. How good can 7 minutes be? Not as good as on-the-spot automotive detailing. They will spend an hour or more and get the job done right. Call On-the-Spot Automotive Detailing, 505-859-2859, 505-859-2859, or visit them online at otsdetailing.com.
Don't overpay for glasses. Get 2 pairs and a free exam.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Call it as Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's going to walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. 1st and goal. It's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion on the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly, Cardinals fly. To the other side, provide some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out! See you later. Good night. Touchdown, Webskowski. An 8. 2 receivers at the top. Harris has all day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man. Touchdown. Wildcats. Not a defender inside. A little bit. Webskowski on the sideline. Hasta mañana. He's off to the races. Touchdown, Clovis.
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24. Rancho late to third. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman. He's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Exactly what they want to get yards.
He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's grabbed. Touchdown. What a play.
And long here for the Storm. Handoff to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball. He's got some space, and it's caught. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Storm. Wow. Santa Maria.
All right, Aggie fans want to hear your thoughts. 43-17, you got beat on the football field yesterday. I didn't know what to make of it. I guess y'all are losing your minds. So it's not. I mean, look, it's not impressive. It's not something just to say, yeah, whatever. But I don't know that it tells me that that's where your football program is. To lose your first game in 450 days. 450 50. What do you normally go, JJ? You go from, I mean, if you don't make a bowl game, you go from November till September. So you go 9.5 months, right? 9 months. Like 9 times 3 is 27. So normally about 270 days. So that's about double the time that you go without a football game. I am still trying to put it in perspective, and I'm going to tell you, I don't know that I lose my mind. They weren't good last time we saw them, and obviously they're not good right now. I mean, I don't mean to be harsh. I just don't know how else to put it.
I'm right there with you. There's so much more that goes into that, because usually you have an off season, and what do? You have strength and conditioning. You have spring practice. You have fall practice. Did any of that occur last year for New Mexico State? It did not. And then 3 weeks ago, you pick it up with your entire team back together, get them out there on the football field, get them in that weight room to a different level, and then go out and play these games. And I think there's so much that people just aren't able to factor in, that they see 43-17 at Tarleton State and just, oh my gosh, it's more of the same from New Mexico State. And like I said, I had someone say that's the worst Aggie football game that they've seen. And
well, that
Jeff,
might be true.
You'll be right there with them. Like, well, we've seen some pretty good football games, but
yeah.
I was surprised. I guess it shouldn't surprise me that if you're playing, fans are going to care. It doesn't matter the circumstances. It could be a preseason game. And in this case, this was an exhibition football game. It doesn't mean anything.
You want to get Danny Nee on tomorrow? You
it's a chance to get on the football field. But when there's a score, there's a scoreboard. People see that. And when you get blued out, circumstances go out the window. They just see that final score.
All right. So I'll reach out to Danny Nee, who is my former partner, does the commentary on Aggie Vision. I get his perspective. Like, I've seen a lot of Aggie football. This was really sloppy. But I don't know what you expected. The other thing is, I'm looking at the box score. Do you recognize a lot of names? Like, it's almost a brand new football team in respect. In some respects, you lost 2 classes. You lost your senior and your junior class, right? I'm not trying to sugarcoat this, guys. That was a bad loss. 43-17 to Tarleton, and it probably wasn't even that close. But I'm looking at it, and I'm like, okay, but like I don't. With all due respect, I don't know barely any of these names. Juwan Price, a freshman, he was the most impressive thing that you had yesterday, right? Other than that, what did you expect? So. I'll reach out and see if we can get Danny on, and honestly, we used to have Doug on Tuesdays of Bowl Week. Let's see if Bowl Week of Football Week. Let's see if that works as well. All right, give us an update where we are. JJ, of course, is the voice of Lady Lobos basketball. It feels like, I don't know, a year since you called a game. Where are we with that?
Well, the last time they were on the court was February 5th. So that was the last time they played a real live basketball game. And where we're at is a day away from game day. They're scheduled to play tomorrow and Wednesday, Clune Arena, against the Air Force Academy. So tomorrow's game, 6 p.m. tip-off. Wednesday's game, 7:30 tip-off. So fingers crossed. We'll see some basketball.
So the next 2 days. Did you say the next
back?
So when do the men play? The men play Monday,
play tonight
Wednesday?
and Wednesday. So the men will play at 4 o'clock on Wednesday.
And that'll be a Mountain West Network game.
Yep, they'll clean it out and then put the women's team on the court.
All right. So and there's another one. They were playing really well. What am I supposed to expect there? They haven't played in 3 weeks?
February 5th.
February 5th. And what's today's date? I don't even know. Today 2014, 21, 22, so it'll be 23 tomorrow? Yeah.
So they'll have 17 days between games.
Yeah, that's all right. That's something. I mean, they're playing Air Force, a team that they most likely will beat. Are they making up games next week?
That hasn't been determined yet either.
So they have series against Colorado State to make up, Boise State to make up, and I know there's another one I'm missing.
Utah State.
Utah State. Did they
But
play
that
Wyoming?
was rescheduled. So that's who they're playing. They didn't play Wyoming.
So there's 4 series that they didn't play.
So the Utah State one was rescheduled. That was their first COVID pause that they missed.
So they'll play.
They'll play Utah
when is
State
that?
Sunday, Monday.
Okay. And will they make another one up on the back end of next week, or is that it? Because there's 4 series they didn't play, right? Utah State, Boise State, Colorado State, Wyoming. Wow. It is what it is, man. I mean, we're limping towards the finish line in some respects. And then somehow we're expected to get through conference and NCAA tournaments without pauses. How are they going to handle conference tournaments with pauses? Because there's going to be teams that aren't going to be able to play. They just eliminated? I'm not sure what contingencies are in conference tournaments, because then there's that deadline looming of the NCAA tournament. 505-246-0610. Aggie fan, want to hear from you today. Lobo fan, you need to get in too. We'll talk baseball. 3 big games for the Lobos over the weekend. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Oh my gosh.
There's the long 3.
Boom.
Bang. Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go.
Fork driving kick. 3's in the air. It's good.
Pass on the nice block by Hernandez Cropper.
And Brown in the transition. But why not, Steve? Is Corbalan's going to go when he puts it away. And Corbalan wants to put it down. Here comes Screechers. Brown, you can't leave him alone. Put it down.
Gershon in transitions, 3-on-2. Gershon going to go all the way. Whoa, Morgan. Ramos, rise and fire. He's fouled.
You know, he used to coach for Del Norte. And
here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the behind the back of the dribble. Tries to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair and hot it, sent it away. Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. BC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku! Oh!
Voted the best sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. This is the opening drive with 2-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck.
Big day here on the Sports Animal. That's right. Big day. Not just because, well, they're going back to school. Look at that. Look at that, JJ. Here's something I haven't seen in 300 and how many days? Come here. This is what it looks like when a child's going back to school. Look at that. Got a little lanyard with the ID and everything. School day for the first time. 300 how many days?
I'm going to take a picture.
347 days.
Smile.
It's a big day here on the Sports Animal. We've been telling you about changes that are coming to the Sports Animal, and they are coming today. Starting today after the Jim Rome Show, we will be airing The Herd with Colin Cowherd. So Jim Rome will continue to run right after our show from 10 till 1, and then we will air the full 3 hours of the Colin Cowherd show from 1 till 4, and the Sports Bar will start at 4 o'clock beginning today and run from 4 to 7 with Trulio and Carlisle. So we've been teasing it for a while, telling you the changes are coming. It's kind of a cool change, man. Colin Cowherd's been on our air before, and he is a thought-provoking, one of the most thought-provoking hosts, I think, in the country. And he's on Fox and Premier Networks, and he's been on our air for on and off over the years. And it was a nice addition to our lineup, and I know Jared's fired up, and it's kind of a nice thing.
Looking forward to it. Should be a strong run throughout the day right here on the Sports Animal. Take the Rome, the Herd, Sports Bar. Bang, bang, bang after the opening drive. Let's get it.
All right, so that starts today, and enjoy that. Enjoy the Herd every single day here on the Sports Animal, except for on when's your day game? You got 2 day games? What did you just tell me? You gave me the schedule for Lobo Women's Basketball Tuesday and Wednesday.
Well, so tomorrow, 5:30 pregame, 6 o'clock tip. Wednesday, scheduled 7 o'clock pregame, 7:30 tip.
All right,
maybe
so you're going
a
after
little
men's basketball.
room in there because they will play after the men's basketball game on Wednesday.
All right. So that's what we got for you. But what you in today, 505-246-0610. Aggie football gets blued out of the Built, 43-17 by Tarleton yesterday. Aggie fan, I guess you've been losing your mind, so I want your thoughts on that. Lobo basketball tonight, they will play at Air Force. Final scheduled series of the regular season, and we'll see what's going to happen next week. You can get in on what happened Friday. 79-67, Lobos lose to Wyoming after being down 21-0 and 34-6, and just that whole mess. The kids baseball over the weekend. Nice win yesterday, beating a Big 12 team in Kansas State. After losing the opener against a really good Gonzaga team out of the West Coast Conference, they lose. They give up 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning to lose that game. And then Oregon State, who's the best team in the Pac-12, a perennial national power, put the beats on them. So they get one more game, and then they open up league play next week. I'm going to get the email. I know what's coming about, they're not going to win every game. This is a really good field they're playing. I think yesterday was a big win and a much-needed win, but to beat a power conference team and go out and come from behind and do it, they were down 3-0. 1 and 2 is not where you want to be, but yesterday was a nice win for Lobo baseball.
Yeah, especially after losing the opener, giving up 2 runs in the 9th inning to Gonzaga. Buzzsaw that was. Oregon State to finally finish off a game, in this case positive. You're the team coming out on top in the 9th. I definitely take that going into round 2 against Oregon State today. Tough loss, but you're right there, and got to be feeling okay if you're Lobo baseball with this round of 4 opening games.
Yeah, when they get another one, and then again next week they open up league play. It's a big league schedule. They're going to play a lot of league games and trying to cut down on travel. So we'll see where that takes them. But 4-3 yesterday, they beat Kansas State. Again, over the weekend, Aggies split their series with Utah Valley in basketball. Lose on Friday, 69-66, a game that went down the stretch, as did the Saturday night game where they came back and beat the Wolverines 67-60. All right, I got APS Athletics is also a big story. JJ, I got a few emails on that, and wherever this goes, we're gonna see impressive turnout yesterday. The APS board meets again tonight. I don't know what they're expecting. People are expecting from the APS board tonight. The APS board has already decided that they are not going back to school. This at this point, unless they somehow have some sort of turn and the teachers have turned on this, this is a Santa Fe decision at this point, is it not? I appreciate the turnout yesterday. I appreciate the passion. I agree with everything that they all had to say in regards to decoupling athletic eligibility to hybrid in-person learning. But I don't know what people are expecting out of APS today. This is a Santa Fe decision that's got to be reversed, and I'm hearing absolutely no indication that there's going to be any sort of change coming out of there.
I think yesterday was good to see the support, people out there, showing, hey, we're ready to play, we're excited to play, give us this opportunity. And maybe there was a little bit of, hey, can you change the decision and get back in? But we know that's probably not going to be the case. To your point, that's something that needs to be put at the feet of Santa Fe and the PED, and the decision that came down to couple the two, because APS is saying, hey, we don't want it to be this way. We don't want to have athletics tied to hybrid learning. But that's out of their hands. And they can present plans and they can say, hey, we want this to be decoupled. It's not the way we want it to be. But if Santa Fe doesn't change their minds, and it doesn't matter how many people are standing out in front of the APS building, it's still going to be no sports.
Yeah. This is from Ken. He says, Ken's gym equals the NMAA ? Jeff, I got an email on Friday. My gym is reopening Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and it's closed on weekends. The gym which he attends, I don't believe he owns it. He says, you can sign up for one 50-minute block every other day. You have to wear that bleep on your face, bring your own water, dress at home, because per order of the governor, the drinking fountains and locker rooms remain closed. I responded with 2 words: why bother? I feel the same about NMAA when I hear they're going to let kids run around 3 to 4 times and call that a season. It's from Ken. Ken, I'm going to tell you, why bother? This is going to be progression back. This is going to be, society is going to be progression back. This isn't, your restaurants are open at 25%. Then if you go green, they're going to get to open at 50 or whatever the number is. There's not going to be a snap of your fingers, Ken, and your gym is going to open. So perspective is yours. Everybody gets to control their own perspective. Everybody gets to control their own state of mind.
Drop your line, Jeff.
Yeah.
Drop your line.
Well,
who are they doing this for, Ken? They're not playing 3 to 5 games for you. Yeah. They're playing 3 to 5 games for that student athlete that hasn't had anything for over a year. Where you say, hey, here's the chance to play some games with your team. Do you want that? Not to make Ken feel good about hanging a banner of what this season should do. It's for the players that want that opportunity.
Well, Ken, I'm going to give you a suggestion, and you take it or leave it, and it's up to you for your sanity. Okay, I opted months ago to take a perspective of not optimism, just the positive. So opposed to, well, they're not playing a full season, well, at least they're playing a damn season. As opposed to, you can't dress in your gym at your gym, well, at least you can go to your gym. This is not going to happen snap overnight, and you're going to go back and click your heels and say there's no place like home, Dorothy. That's not how this goes. You don't get the ruby slippers and click your heels, and you're going to go back to where you were 13 months ago. This is going to be a slow progression in. So why bother? The why bother means we're easing our way back to whatever normalcy meant. Why bother? Why are you going to go to a restaurant at 25%? You know why? Because you want to eat at a restaurant, you want a meal. Why are you going to play 5 games instead of 10? Because the kids want to play. Why are you going to go to the gym when you can't dress at the gym and you got to bring your water? Because you want to go to the gym. And Ken, honestly, it's been a perspective that sorry about the dishwasher noise. It's been a perspective that has helped me get through some of this. And again, we all pick our own perspective, man. But why bother? Because you're going to ease your way back in. I don't know why anybody would expect, boom, we're back.
I'm right there with you. This is perfect. Who are we doing this for? Not doing it because you think the schedule's not good enough. Doing it because these student athletes want an opportunity to compete. And for some of them, it might be that last opportunity at any level to play meaningful games. And to them, it absolutely is meaningful. Get out there with your team, roll with your guys, your girls, whatever it may be, and get something under your belt.
Yeah, I think that's right. All right, 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. Your emails, Jeff at sportsanimalabq.com, JJ at sportsanimalabq.com. You can get in on some of the NBA over the weekend. Nets beat the Clippers. Nets are rolling, and they did it without KD. Firing of the coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves. We got all kinds of NBA stuff. The Lobos play tonight. It's the opening drive. We're on ProView Networks. That's Jay Poole and Josh producing there. Mike on the radio side on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Second field goal, he's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off. Romero, a 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, twine!
But he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, little kick.
They leave it one more time. Two-hand hammer.
Look at this, and then we'll score again. Look at this.
Up top! Yes, and the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak, ahead of the pack to Davina Lovato. Up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
Creates space. He gives it off to Rivas for the 3 and he buries it.
They'll be coming in soon. Double pick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window. Scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish. What a...
Around the screen. Against White. Step back. It's blocked. JB with the block.
In transition. Ahead to hit on. Hit on for the two-hand hammer.
Minutes to go. They've got a shot. They have a chance. And it's put up. And it's good. What a 3 that is by Jalen.
Hito puts it up.
Rebound, Cowboys. Right side, David Hall. Thank you very much.
Here come the Cowboys. Domino Lovato lays it up. Missed it. Hey, how about it? Dunk you, Lusses. Thank you very much, Raquan Mitchell. Clock at 6. They get it. Barnes Tompkins fires. Yes! Pass up court. This for the win. Blocked by DJ Bustos. Cowboys win. Cowboys win.
Moreno extra pass. And Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's going to run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand. And
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy. No Tiger Woods in the Masters, Carl said. That interview yesterday not only put any breezes prior to Augusta in doubt, but the Masters itself sounds far from certain for Tiger. It is far from certain. He just had back surgery. Masters is, what, 6-7 weeks away? Tiger was the host of the Genesis Open at Riviera yesterday in Los Angeles, won by Max Homa in extra.
Tony.
What?
Tony Finau.
Oh, yeah. No, he had, look, when on the first extra hole, it was Tony Finau and Max Homa. So the day started off with Sam Burns, I think started 3 strokes clear, and by the end of the first round on Sunday morning, it was 2 strokes clear. And I was watching with Audrey, I said, this guy's never won before. And she says, is he going to win? I said, well, we're going to see how he handles the back 9 on Sunday with the lead. She's like, well, it is Sunday. I said, yeah, we'll see how he handles the back 9. And he kind of, as they say on the Jim and Rome show, put a big dump in his pants on the back 9 on Sunday and didn't play well. And Max Homa did. Tony Finau did. And they went to extra holes. The first hole, they played number 10. And Homa's drive ends up right next to a tree, like at the base of the tree, right on the roots. And, you know, at your club, maybe you're allowed to move it off the roots so you don't break your hand. At the PGA level, they don't. The shot he pulled off, did you see the shot he pulled off of the tree to make par on 10, and then he won it on 11 when Finau made bogey, was amazing, because I thought he was cooked. At that point, it's like, damn, Finau's going to win, because Homa cannot get up and down and get up and 2-putt from there.
So Tony Finau is on a list, and they showed this last night. Yeah, so we're talking, John Rahm, Dustin Johnson, Roy McIlroy, and I believe JT was on it as well. Justin Thomas.
I think, was first, yeah.
So we're talking over 38 career top 10 finishes for Tony Finau, 0 wins. All those other guys, it was like 12, 5, 7 career wins over that stretch. Tony Finau, 0. Dude is consistent, but he's a bridesmaid.
Dude's making a lot of money, right? Dude's making a lot of money playing golf. You get all those top 10 finishes, you're making millions and millions of dollars, but he hadn't won yet. I did believe yesterday was going to be his day too. Especially, can you appreciate the Homa shot? Like, honestly, there was no way that happens. And for him to get it off of that tree root, the base of that tree, and give himself an actual birdie putt, a realistic 12, 14-foot birdie putt, was insane. And then Homa goes on to win. Boy, the golf course looked tough. The winds were brutal. They actually shut it down on Saturday in LA because of weather, because it was too windy. I can't tell you the last time I saw a golf tournament get shut down because it was too windy.
You usually have to just deal with it.
Yeah, deal with it. But that's how it is. All right. Did I hear this correctly? Next week was supposed to be the big makeup week for missed games. Did you say Level Basketball and the Phillies might not play? I sure don't get that. Are they going to be sharp enough for Vegas with 2 weeks off? I didn't. Well, I said I don't know because the league hasn't still come out with a schedule for the makeup week. Let me clarify what I said, James, on next week. And JJ, I really, this is coming off of the Mark Ziegler column in the Union Tribune in San Diego. Next week, it sounds like, well, there's no sounds like. There is room, there was a gap week left to make up games. San Diego State missed series with New Mexico and UNLV. Colorado State missed series with Nevada and New Mexico. They're all across the board. It sounds like San Diego State's not going to play UNLV because they don't want. That's the one I don't get. Colorado State would prefer, according to that story, to play New Mexico than to play Nevada. I don't know that they get to make the rules, but I didn't know that it was you can opt in or out. I figured the league said, all right, this week was left for makeups, and you're going here, and you're playing them, and you're playing them, and here's the schedule. We're going to make up TV games. I didn't think for a second when that week was left that it was going to be an option for teams to play.
Feels like once they make the decision on the San Diego State-New Mexico contest,
which may be forfeits,
if they deem those a forfeit, which is a possibility, then the announced schedule, however many games they put in, a one or two, depending on the time they feel is needed and okay between the end of the season and the tournament, that once they make that decision, that they say, all right, games are scheduled if you want to play them, and guess what? You forfeit them.
So we should get word. I'm going to guess tomorrow. It's kind of what it sounds like to me. According to the Ziegler story, I mean, is that kind of when you think we're going to get them? Because at some point you got to know where you're going next week, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to guess maybe next week, or guess tomorrow. You know where you're going next week. My guess is the Lobos are going to have to play Colorado State. Don't you think? Do they want to, or do they want to take a week off, go play one game, and be done?
I think watching this team, they still want to play basketball. Doesn't mean that you're going to be good at basketball, but I still think there's a want to with this team.
Yeah, I do too. Tellus sent me this this email. It says MVP, and this is on Level Basketball. He said the folks I was watching with felt like McQuatch Malwatch should be MVP of the league. Watch with some Lobo fans, huh? If he plays like that with Thomas and Mack, Lobo basketball has a puncher's chance against anybody in Vegas. With all due respect, Tellus, I disagree. Yeah, he played well. I think he'll be honorable mention all league, don't you?
Yeah, I think McQuatch Malwatch on his senior night in Clune Arena was fantastic.
30 points.
Career high points scored. And he can do that, but the difference is he can't do that at game in and game out. That's not the player he is. He can flash. He has those moments, as we've talked about, but he's not that guy game in and game out. And also, it's going to be that much harder to be that guy when teams are looking at the Lobos and go, well, let's just throw everything we have at Malawatch and see what happens.
And let somebody else beat us, because who is that somebody else going to be? Right? Mm-hmm. I agree with you. I thought he was terrific the other night. Even when they were getting beat 21-0, 34-6, whatever it was. Okay, but that guy was out there at least. There's something. How do you explain that turnaround? How do you explain a team that looks so inept for the first 12 minutes of that game, 14 minutes of that game, coming back and getting to within 2 and looking like actually pretty decent team?
Effort.
Straight effort.
I think there's some of that on the defensive end, and then just getting to the basket, like finishing inside. Because the point where they could have cashed out is defensively. Like, your shots aren't falling, it's 21-0. Like, why are you even going to get back and try to rebound or try to contest any of these shots? Start going through the motions. So if you just keep it up and then you start getting inside, getting some shots to go at the rim, gives you that little bit of a pep in your step when you see Wyoming miss a couple in that first half, and all of a sudden, it's 21-0, 33-6. You're cutting into this. Oh, it's a 10-point game. All right, let's make a run. Second half, you go on that 31-12 run, 2-point game, and then the shots weren't getting as good of looks late in the second half, and then you had some contested mid-range jumpers, couldn't get one of those to fall, and then Wyoming, as you mentioned, at that point in time, they kind of tightened up and were able to hold on and pull away.
No, defensively, I thought they were terrific in the second half. I thought the full court pressure obviously really got to Wyoming, and I expect to see it tonight.
Yeah.
I do. All right, 505-246-0610. That's how to get here. 888-922-0610. Of course, you can watch our show every day. We're on ProView Networks. Go to our Facebook page, the OD and the AM, or go to ProView Networks YouTube channel. And then we're on every day at 3 o'clock on Comcast Channel 26. You can rewatch it. Jay Pohl and Josh are producing there for you. Gentlemen, I hope you're feeling well. Hope you're feeling great, actually. But if you're not, maybe if you're dealing with fatigue or maybe low T, erectile dysfunction, you can call NewMail and you can take care of it. NewMail is the leader in men's health. They're here in Albuquerque. They've helped thousands of men all over the country feel better. Fellas, what's more important than the way you feel right now? Nothing. Feeling well is a priority, and NewMail makes it possible. Call them at 505-652-1688 or visit NewMail, NUMALE.com. The whole process, it's comfortable. The results are absolutely real. From the phone call to your first visit all the way through the treatment, NewMail will be with you. They'll help you take care of low energy, even hair loss, erectile dysfunction. Their testosterone replacement utilizes cutting-edge technology. They're out front when it comes to men's health, so call them at 505-652-1688. Guys, take care of yourself. Make the call. Visit NewMail.com or call 505-652-1688, and you'll feel better.
Eastbound on Rio Bravo, there's an accident.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Lovato driving. They're going to count it.
Gallegos. Ooh, a little spin and a finish. There's Natalia Chavez. Good spin. Takes a.
Here's Ramos. Nice jump stop to the.
Played with gambling a little bit. Oh, there's a. Hill, little step, high window, and
Got the second. In the middle. Here we go. 3.9. It's Cooper's going to run with it. Cooper's going to swing it out to Lowry. Lowry. Portillo couldn't get it off, and Clovis goes in. It's waved off. He did not get it off in time. Portillo.
reverse layup. Gallegos spins. Window finishes.
There's a run coming from
lazy pass. Here comes Crawford. It might be showtime. Dang. Let's see if Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy, and it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcano Vista.
That replay, too.
Yeah, I
Just
got
get
you.
the measurement. I mean,
Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
He'll run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. They're looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
He'll throw it. Looking. Here comes the rush. Stepping up. Pavia now running around. Being chased. Looks across. Throws it up and wide open. Ball is caught. Touchdown. Jimmy Guyette. Chavez dropping, looking, stepping up. He's going to run. He's got a lot of green in front of him. To the end zone. Touchdown. Rio Rancho, Isaiah Chavez. Chavez set. He's going to run with it again and dives and...
It's Austin Smith, and to the outside, a lot of room. Look out, a foot race down the sideline. All the way on the first play from scrimmage, Chris. That's a touchdown.
Will be next, and after that, you will get The Herd with Colin Cowherd every day from 1 until 4. The full 3 hours of the Colin Cowherd Show, and then the Sports Bar will begin at 4 o'clock, run 4 to 7 with Trulio and Carlisle with more local talk for you every single day. So the re-edition, JJ, it's not even like an addition. It's like a welcoming back to our stations. But the Colin Cowherd Show, and I think we're all excited to have Colin back as part of our lineup, and I think the listeners will enjoy that as well. So that starts today at 1 o'clock.
Looking forward to it. Strong lineup Monday through Friday for right here on the Sports Channel.
Yep. All right. Want to hear from you today. Aggie football loses 43-17 over the weekend to Tarleton in a. They're not exhibitions. They're not like. What are they? Like, are they going to go on Doug Martin's record? Where do you put these stats?
Well, if they're not exhibition, isn't that what you classify an exhibition game?
I don't even know. I swear to you, I should. But I don't know. Like, where will these go in the record books of New Mexico State?
Like, did that year, the Lobos played BYU? Did that count for anything? Like, that was in basketball.
That exhibition game? I don't think that game did. The one where who was the big that went to Utah Valley that blew out his name? Connor McDougal. Yeah, I called that game. Yeah, right at the end of the game, and then he never came back. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
But don't tell the fans that.
Well,
because they look at that final score and go, that's unacceptable.
All right, so here's Jason's take on it, because if there's an Aggie game, there's a Jason take. It says, good morning, OD. So yesterday's game elicited 2 reactions from me. The 43-17 loss was concerning, very concerning, but not just from the aspect of the score. Tarleton's a good program and will be a very good FCS program because of many factors like location and commitment. The lifeblood of any football program is recruiting. I notice on the Aggie roster a lot of JC transfers. Take that for what you will. Tarleton, on the other hand, has some freshmen, some transfers, but more importantly, a culture of success built from program guys. Yesterday, that was on full display. The overall speed of Tarleton's skilled players and defense was concerning. Yes, the Aggies had a special team touchdown, which speaks to 85 scholarships at FBS, 63 versus FCS level. Now, I will say this. I felt throughout the game, NMSU treated this game as a scrimmage, an opportunity for players to earn their spot for the fall. And after that performance, there should be a lot of open positions going into the fall. But this game does not speak to fall success. In fact, this game may actually speak to how the Aggies should approach recruiting and commitment football a commitment to football going forward. The last concern I have is this. If I'm a Texas kid and the Aggies recruit heavy in that state, why go to Las Cruces, New Mexico, to play when you could attend a school in the Hill Country, in a Dallas suburb, at a school that's sinking money into their football program, their facilities, their infrastructure, their amenities? Ladies and gentlemen, money and recruits matter. Lastly, here's a real perspective. There are some FCS programs, North Dakota State, James Madison, Montana, Weber State, Jackson State now, that could beat the bottom 10 to 15 programs in FBS. Crimsonally, Jason. He says, P.S., speaking to recruiting, I know a New Mexico kid from the class of 2020 who took an unofficial visit to Tarleton. Remember, FCS has a very limited budget when it comes to visits, so the majority of visits are unofficial. The kid ultimately went to JC. That same kid, however, could not get a return email, Twitter inbox from the NMSU staff. That alone should speak volumes. All right. This is going to be interesting. And as these teams, the Sam Houstons, the Tarletons, the Lamars, join the WAC, and it's been made, I think, fairly clear by the athletic directors, at least some of them, that, JJ, the plan is for the WAC to, within 5 to 7 years, be an FBS league. His point's not wrong. Why go to New Mexico State? I could stay in Texas. They're putting more money into their facilities. They're putting more money into their program. They're committing. It's a real concern.
It is a real concern, but until they're FBS members, you still have the advantage of offering a few more D1 scholarships. And if you're in on a couple of those races, as you just mentioned, that might be a tipping point for you. Give a kid a Division I opportunity if there's not another scholarship out there. But absolutely, the level of football in Texas is legit across the board, and it's going to be a challenge for all these schools to try to go in there and get players, especially if we see the step up in football for a lot more programs throughout the state. Now, his point on the JUCO recruiting, that's understandable because it's a tough situation. Because if you're Doug Martin and that staff, you're looking to fill some immediate needs, because you also know you're probably not going to say, hey, look, we got a bunch of freshmen in here. Let us regroup and keep living off that bowl win for the next 3 to 4 years if you're not getting anywhere. And that's the challenge that you run into, is your coach is trying to get into that quick fix mode. Maybe you don't get the player development, and thus people start kind of noticing, well, you're trying to go quick fix, maybe it's not working, and get left in that weird area.
How long does the equity of that bowl win last? I mean, it's about expired, is it not? I mean, I know Doug Martin is the only coach to take the Aggies to a bowl game in the last 60 years. I got it. And
what have you done for me lately?
Well, you can't follow that up with two win seasons, right? Getting blued out of the built by Tarleton doesn't help anybody, and I get it. Believe me, I'm not the guy jumping off the roof on this thing. I'm not. I'm taking it for what I think it is, and it's an exhibition after not playing for 450 days and playing in February. I guess I'm not reading too much into it. But to Jason's point, the difference in athlete on that field last night wasn't lost on anybody. I mean, it was pretty apparent, was it not? The difference in the athlete on that field last night or yesterday. Tarleton sure as hell looked like they had the better athletes, didn't they?
I think for a lot of people, too, is even if you take a step back, you say, all right, let's say they ran that game back in September.
Okay.
Do you think New Mexico State's going to take that much of a jump? And I think that's what is concerning. Even with all the factors involved, you take a step back and say, well, this team has been practicing for a whole 3 weeks. Tarleton's, it's not like this is the first ever time they played football. Like, yeah, they
played a game last week.
But people are acting like Tarleton just created a football program like in January and then went out there and played this game. So it's not quite the case. Yet the score looks bad. But to Jason's point, the amount of players and new players that played for New Mexico State, how they treated this game, these are just opportunities to get players on the field, get a little bit of evaluation going into summer. Fingers crossed you can at least get a regular season played this year.
Jason's as adherent as, and I think pretty rational Aggie fan as we've got, right? And he'll slant things his way all the time, but he's pretty fair, pretty well thought out. But for crying out loud, I mean, yeah. So how does that make the Dixie State game more important? I'm sitting here telling you that this game doesn't matter, it doesn't mean anything, but now you're going to go into the spring, summer, I mean, whatever. If you get run out by 2 FCS teams, how you feeling going into next year? Like they kind of got to win that game, don't they?
All this it changes because of the fan reaction. As the fans yesterday really weren't looking at this as, oh, we just finally got out there, 450 days, 3 weeks of practice. Good to see the team get an opportunity to play. It was, uh-oh, is this just going to be a bad football team once again if you can't even compete with Tarleton State?
If they'd have beat Tarleton 40-43, Aggie fan would be where right now?
Concerned, but not firing Doug Martin yet.
Because they won? What if they'd have lost 43-37?
Upset, ready to fire Doug Martin. I think any loss at this point in time, there's a number of fans in Aggie football camp that are out and ready to see what's next.
Wow. Yeah, Aggie fan, just really, really, really curious. I mean, you were on the social media and I took a look this morning, and you were there. Boy, were you there. You lose a February game, 43-17. All right, well, you always lose 43. Oh, but to Tarleton. Oh, to an FCS. Oh, you got blued out of the built. All right, that's concerning. Danny Nee's going to join us tomorrow, by the way, at 7:30. Danny's the former Aggie great, my former partner on Aggie Vision, and he was there and called the game yesterday, and want his thoughts. He loves the Aggies. He knows this program really well, and just kind of looking forward to catching up with him and getting his thoughts on what that means for that program. What does it mean? Because I guess I got a different perspective now than I did an hour and a half ago.
Means a little bit more than at least I thought it would be, but it shows you if they're keeping score, fans are watching said game, regardless of the circumstances, you get blued out, that's going to hit. And it hit the Aggie fans yesterday.
To win the game. 505-246-0610. I want to get into Deion Sanders' debut as a head coach at Jackson State. Really, the game itself, taking a back seat. They played yesterday.
Edward not showing up.
Edward.
Jackson State played Edward Waters.
Oh,
and boy, that was a rough day for Edward.
Yeah. I'm like, what? Edward shows up every day. It tells me it's going to be brief, and then, Edward.
Expect
Waters.
better out of Edward in that situation.
It's the opening drive on ProView Networks at 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal.
Scrambling. And great hit. He bounces off outside. Got some daylight at the 20, the 10, the 5. What an incredible run. Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores. Got into it. Had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo. Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side push. Shot on and goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's going to go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. It's stolen. And somehow Hatsberry's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Stripped. Calion stripped him. Come Highland the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it.
What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbayosi throws it down.
Evans has that ball stolen. Jeremy Segura.
Dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass, wrap around pass.
Harris, Legate, the long bomb, 3 ball.
Oh, great steal by Quinteros, lays it up and scores.
A whole little jump step in the... And look out, here comes Agbayosi. Crawford set. That's blocked. Lansing says, get that out of here. Sister to sister, Marianne Lansing's going to go all the way. Turnaround. Ramos, pump fake, everyone bites. Ramos hits. Jackson loses it. David Bond back, alley-oop, put it down. Dunkalicious, how about it?
Oh, let's get a little closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what he'll
just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way.
He's gonna fire at the buzzer and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much.
Tie in the district. Inside, fly, Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this, stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Said that anything better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer. Back to back for Chavez.
To the paint. Medina from the volleyball lines. Medina wants another one from deep. Oh, he wants 10. Give him 10.
I'm pissed off right now because I have mixed emotions. We won. Kids played really well. While the game was going on, somebody came in and stole every darn thing I had in my locker room, in the coach's office. Yeah, credit cards, wallet, watches. Thank God I had on my necklaces. So how do you think it feels? coming back after just teary-eyed because the guys have presented me with the game ball, one of the best moments I've ever had in my professional sports career emotionally. And then you go into your locker room, your coach's office to digress, and you notice and you don't even have a phone to call your mama, to call your girl, to call your kids because it's been stolen.
Deion Sanders, after his coaching debut at Jackson State, his team won 53-0. They beat Edward Waters. It's not just one dude. It's an NAIA program. But then he went to digress, JJ. He went to digress, and you can't digress without no phone to call your mama. That sucks. Now, if that had happened here in Albuquerque, people would have said, well, it's just Albuquerque, right? That sucks. It's the opening drive, JJ. Then there was a Twitter back and forth afterwards that somehow it wasn't stolen. They got the stuff back, right? It wasn't stolen and it was stolen, and Prime put out a tweet that said, whomever putting out the lie that my belongings wasn't stolen is lying. My belongings were taken out of a zip bag in my office, and more items were taken as well from my office. We've retrieved them since being reported. My staff member witnessed the crime. #truth. Bottom line is that sucks, man. You ever see? You ever wonder when you watch a basketball game, a college basketball game? There's always, when the team comes out on the floor, there's always a manager, one of the guys in suits, wheeling a bag, a suitcase. Do you know what's in that bag? That's the valuables.
I'm going to assume everyone's stuff.
So, yeah. So everybody puts like their wallets so it doesn't get stolen from the visiting locker room or the home locker room.
Well, now you just know to go take that bag.
Well, so. But that bag's like under guard, or the guy's always got it. But that sucks, man. Who does that?
Well, they got the stuff back. Miscommunication or not, but that was unfortunate that Deion Sanders was like, I should be happy, but I don't have my iPhone right now. Can't FaceTime anyone. No, he just took Edward Waters to school.
Edward got smoked. I want to see Edward Waters play Howard. Who would win? I mean, Howard works for Edward. I know that. Like Edward is Howard's employee, but I want to see Edward Waters play Howard. Who would win? Did you ever hear of Edward Waters before?
No.
Okay. Yeah, me neither. I just want to make sure.
There's a lot of NAIA schools out there that I have never heard of.
Yeah, Edward Waters happens to be one.
Our Lady of the Lake.
Yeah. All right. Aggies lose. Edward Waters lost. I mean, what do you want? All right, I got an email from Lobo Hobo, how the mighty have fallen. Jeff, it wasn't that like ago, I'm going to guess long ago, when you and Dr. Stigambula hosted a Selection Sunday show on 770 and debated if Lobo basketball was going to be a 3 or 4 seed and would finally make the Sweet 16 run. Now we're debating if we want to bother to make up a couple of games or just lose the first one in Vegas. Who's in worse shape, Lobo basketball or NMSU football, if they're getting blued out of their makeshift built? Lobo Hobo, that's a great question. Who's in worse shape right now, Lobo basketball or Aggie football? I hate asking who's in worse shape questions. I'm not that guy, but since you asked it, I'll entertain it.
I'm always going to lean. All right, if in worse shape, probably the program that's harder to change, given sheer
Aggie
amount
football.
of players, which is a football team.
Yeah, but the fact that you're asking that question, no, honestly, I mean, and the fact that you thought about it for a second, because he's not wrong. I used to fly back on that early flight out of Vegas. Mm-hmm. And JJ, you've run that last night with me. I remember telling you, J. Pole and Josh will appreciate this. So before we went to the championship game on Saturday, I told JJ, hey, pack up all your stuff, get your suitcase ready to go. He's like, well, what do you mean? Our flight's not till Sunday morning. I'm like, pack everything up and get it ready to go. and you'll appreciate this. And he appreciated it as we went to the championship game, then went out and ran around Vegas and got in at about 6:37 in the morning, just in time to grab our bags and get to the airport and make our flight. Right? So I used to. So I would take that flight and come stumbling in, and we would do those shows over on News Radio, KKOP, Stigler and I, and Lobo's going to be a threat. I remember when they had Montana, and I called Wayne Tinkle. I had a connection with Wayne Tinkle from back in the day, and the Montana coach was able to get the, his first thought on the matchup, and now we're like, dang, do we even want to make up games? Like it is, and that doesn't seem that long ago. It doesn't seem that long ago, and I guess it probably was 8 years ago, 9 years ago now, right? Because we've had 4 years of Paul, 4 years of Craig. So Alfred's been gone 8 full seasons, right? What was the Craig Neal team that went to the NCAA tournament? What was that? What seed were they? What year was that? Like what was that NCAA tournament run?
Was that they lost to Stanford?
So that was the first
5-12.
It could be, but so they lost the first game.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can't even believe somebody. What's that?
Dwight Powell. I think Jason Randall was on that Stanford team. NBA guy.
I just can't even believe I've never thought I'd see the question, and it's right there in front of me. Who's in worse shape, Lobo basketball or NMSU football? And I mean the fact that you took a second and wow, times they haven't changed. 505-246-0610. Jay, Paul, and Josh are producing on the TV side. Mike is on the radio side. We're on ProView Networks. And 95.9 FM and AM 610, The Sports Animal. When we come back, big news on a big change here on The Sports Animal.
Played over to Madrid, plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot up by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
With this first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says.
Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return.
Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it.
They're really...
Oliveras. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hiron. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hiron. The two-hand hammer by Hiron. I knew he was going to put that one down.
ProView Networks tonight.
District matchup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh! Big pardon. Watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Dumas Sanchez in the corner.
Back to Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win.
And he got it!
It's good.
Oh my God!
On the last second shot.
He did! Oh my God!
Bakes it in from 25 feet and watch the celebration right in front of us. What a shot by Barton. He was double teamed and somehow found a way to get it in.
Ramos to Gaxiola, high window for the win. It's good. It counts. Gaxiola with the game winner for a Driscoll Heritage.
Sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. Don't sweat the technique. This is the opening drive with two-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Siembieda, and JJ Buck. Don't sweat the technique.
Big day here on the Big Sports Animal. Telling you about changes that are coming, and changes have come. Today, after the Jim Rome Show, starting at 1 o'clock, the Colin Cowherd Show. The Herd with Colin Cowherd will be a regular fixture on the Sports Animal. You'll be able to hear the full 3 hours from 1 till 4 on the Sports Animal in the Sports Bar. We'll start at 4 with Trulio and Carlisle. That is your new lineup here on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal, your leader in sports radio here in the Boutique for the last quarter of a century. It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck, proud to be with you on a Monday morning. It's a big deal for us. And kind of fired up to welcome Colin Cowherd back to our air.
Looking forward to it. Monday through Friday, daytime programming, start to finish. Got you covered on the Sports Animal.
Yeah, buddy. All right, other changes. Carson Wentz is changing places. He's going from Philly to Indy, and he will change his number, apparently. Did you know that? He probably will not wear number 11. Did he wear 11 at North Dakota State?
I don't know.
The Colts already have a guy that wears number 11. Michael Pittman told that TMZ Sports that he's not giving up his number.
Wentz ain't that good. He ain't getting my number.
So Wentz did wear 11 at North Dakota State. But Pittman said, quote, I spoke to him, and he was just seeing how locked in I was to 11. I told him I was locked in. And he was like, that's cool, bro, because I'm probably going to switch anyway. So it went really well. And he's a cool guy. He didn't try to press me or anything like that. He just asked me very respectfully, and I just appreciate him for that. I think that he's a great dude because lots of guys with his status, they would come in and demand and stuff like that, end quote. Well, I think what you were expecting is...
Are you telling me Carson Wentz is cheap?
I was expecting a new car. Yes, exactly. Pittman was asked if there's anything that could change his mind. Like, I don't know.
Maybe if you're Tom Brady.
Cash money, homie.
What's the number? And he says, I am number 11.
Maybe 11 with a bunch of zeros after it.
He said, any deal going to get done? Nope. He didn't think he would feel right accepting money to exchange jerseys. Really? Really? I mean, every other guy accepts money to accept it. So what did Tommy give? It was Chris Godwin who wore 12, right? What did Tommy give him? There was something to that. There was a price tag on it. I mean, that's just how it is. That's not like anything new. I firmly believe that's why more receivers are wearing numbers in the teens as opposed to the 80s like back in the day, because there's a chance they could hit a jackpot if you get a veteran quarterback who comes in and wants your number and he'll pay you for it. I'm kind of kidding, but I'm not kind of kidding, but I am kind of kidding, but I'm not. Right? Number 11. So what's available for Carson Wentz, but he probably isn't going to get that number. All right, why don't you guys bring me up to speed on this Cam Newton thing? So Cam Newton was at a Cam Newton football camp, and there was a teenage kid that was, because I'm looking at it now, I'm looking at the apology. There was a high school football player on a video, and I didn't see the video, you guys both did, who just junk-talked him the whole time. Is that what I'm telling you?
Yeah, there was a moment where there were a bunch of players on the sidelines. Cam Newton was walking by on the sidelines, and then one of the kids at the camp started going at him and was like, who are you now, man? You're a free agent. And what? You're a free agent. You don't have a job. And then, Cam got a little in his feelings, and he's like, bro, I'm rich. Doesn't matter. I'll be okay. I'm Cam Newton.
He said I'm rich?
Yeah. He's like, I'm rich. Because the kid was like, you got a job. You're a free agent. He's like, I'm rich. And you're like, all right, Cam. Like, we get it. The kid got a little overzealous over being on echoing back in my ear. As I hear all this, but it's a situation where...
Sorry, I got the audio.
That's all right. It's... Yeah, you can hear it. Let's go back and forth.
You asked, you're free agent, man. You're free agent, Rick. You're free agent. I'm Rick. You gotta be poor. I'm Rick. You gotta be poor. I'm Rick. You gotta be poor. I'm Rick. You're a free agent. I'm Rick. You're a free agent. I'm Rick. He's a free agent.
So he's in an argument with some high school kid who's in his face said, you're a free agent, you got to be poor. He's like, I'm rich. I'm rich. I'm rich. I'm rich. Damn.
And, of course, once that hit social media, there's the faction that is always anti-Cam Newton, right? And so he's kind of taking this and, like, why are you going at a kid like that? Who cares if you're rich? What are you doing? And not taking into account this is Cam Newton putting on a football camp and getting all these teams out there at Cam Newton's football camp. And Cam Newton actually has been a really good dude in the communities that he's been in, but that doesn't matter when you're on social media. So the story continues, and then yesterday, there's another video comes out because everyone's got their phones out around Cam Newton. Cam goes back to the kid and is like, hey, I haven't seen you or your team play. What have you done? When are you playing? Tell me about yourself. The kid goes into an immediate shell. He's like, and then one of his teammates is like, oh, he's fast. And the kid hasn't done anything at the camp. And he just had his moment of clowning Cam Newton on social media. And the kid's coach comes over and he's like, Cam, I'm sorry, my team's here. And the Cam's like, no, I'm just asking the kid. I want to know about him. What's going on? So Cam Newton's trying to step up.
So Cam's throwing out an olive branch just saying, hey, man, we're good. Tell me about you. Tell me about
I've got that too.
Who are you? So it sounded like this when Cam went and tried to engage a young man.
No, ain't no disrespect. If you want some attention, I'm going to give you some attention. The right way, bro. The right way. When do y'all play? We play tomorrow. What was y'all record today then? 1-2. No, 2-1. What did you do? I wasn't able to see because y'all was too. Cameras on me. All right, bro. What did he do, man? Does he play?
He got speed.
He got speed?
No, he's letting his speed.
Oh.
You're going to see.
Huh? You're going to see. Don't act shy now, bro. Don't act shy. I'm asking. I couldn't see today.
You don't watch YouTube. Bro, you watch YouTube. I know you do.
You can't watch your crops, man. Stop.
All right. The young man, Joseph Owens, Perkiomen Valley High School in Pennsylvania, put out an apology on Twitter this morning. That's the young man who's clowned or trying to clown Cam Newton. First and foremost, I want to express my deepest apologies to Cam Newton, my entire organization, and my coaches for my actions at the 7v7 tournament this past weekend. I did not intend for it to get out as far as it did. First, I'd like to start off by saying my parents never taught me to people disrespectful. As a football player, I let my competitive side get the best of me, and it was a huge miscommunication. It was in the midst of the moment I realize now, blah, on and on. A huge miscommunication. You got your moment, man. You thought you were going to clown first overall pick in the draft, and wow. I actually feel bad for Cam. I do. I actually feel for Cam. What are you supposed to do, man? You're supposed to sit there and take it from the kid? You're supposed to walk away? What's the right way to respond to that?
And it wasn't the worst interaction when you go back and listen to it, but I think it's a fascinating story because it's how so many things are consumed these days. In 15, 20-second internet clips, and then you get determinations being made about that. People going right after Cam Newton, start clowning him in this situation, and then you get an overall sense of the entire story after the weekend. Yeah, Cam, fired back. He didn't trash the kid himself. He just said, I'm rich, and people got all upset about that. But then how about Cam coming back the next day too, just straight up going to the kid, his team, all right, what have you guys done? Tell me about yourself. And then when you're confronted, you're like, oh, well, I really haven't done anything. I just kind of wanted to be on TikTok yesterday. You get that. You got to deal with your coaches, got to deal with your teammates. There you go.
Wow. All right. Is there a moral to this story?
Yes.
The cell phone videos everywhere?
15 or 20 seconds doesn't always tell the full story on social media.
Yeah, I guess. All right. 505-246-0610 is where you are. 888-922-0610. Your emails come in this morning. Jeff at 610K, or I'm sorry, Jeff at sportsanimalabq.com. JJ at sportsanimalabq.com. When we come back, I got some more emails on Louisville basketball, Aggie football. I really want your thoughts. Aggie fan, on the football loss to Tarleton, and what does it mean? You weren't good at the end of last season. You went 450 days. You're not good now, but getting blued out by Tarleton, what does it mean in February? Obviously, it would mean a lot more in September. What does it mean now? 505-246-0610. Hey, you trusted your home and business security to a local company. They had an armed response, and then they sold out. You got selected, and now your security is on the brink of being bought out by a national corporate giant, and that is not what you signed up for. It's not what you have to have. Call International Protective Service, IPS, because IPS is not for sale. IPS is invested in this community. They care about your home and your business security like it's their own. Let the highly trained armed guards or 24-hour patrols of IPS protect what is yours. I've trusted IPS for years to watch my home, to give us peace of mind. I see them up and down the street in front of my house on a regular basis. If you go out of town, they will come by the house, do exterior checks every day, pick up the newspaper, the mail. If it's garbage day, they roll the garbage cans to the curb and back. Just give your home that lived-in look. You want peace of mind, IPS can give you that peace of mind. Give them a call at 505-897-2420. 505-897-2420 or go to ipsglobal.com.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake,
Head up the middle's got some room. 50, 45, 40. Has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5. Touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a...
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Portell.
The outside, I'm running an out route.
Davison in the play action, looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown. So Davison back to toss, and he's got all day. It's one miss, and he's rolling. He's got a guy. Can he get it there? Davison to Luke Weissong.
Hey, we told you he
touchdown.
could spin that football, and that was a throw right there. I know he's got the wind at his back, but
well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Call it as Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's going to walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chad.
I want to wrap up the thoughts on Cam before we move. Because I'm sitting there thinking, why is it I feel bad for Cam? Cam Newton doesn't have anything to explain to some kid. And whether you think him coming back, I'm rich, is whatever. I almost credit Cam for not going over there and slapping that kid upside the head. Like Cam Newton is putting on a camp. He's sponsoring a camp, putting on a camp. He's made, over $100 million playing football. He was a former MVP, a former #1 pick. He led a team to the Super Bowl. And he's getting clowned by some high school kid on his time, a volunteer in his time. That kid, and I have no idea what this young man's background is, and I'm not gonna pretend to assume it. But that kid should know better. And he should be ashamed of himself. And JJ, I do feel bad for Cam because, like, Cam's, whatever the bad press Cam gets is because he hasn't handled adversity well, right? Cam's never been a bad guy. Has Cam ever been in trouble, right? The people who don't like Cam, and I was on this train, I just always thought Cam was a front runner and didn't handle the adversity well.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. He's had some of his mistakes in press conferences.
Yeah. But he's never been a bad guy, and in the community, he's always been a actually pretty good guy. And so for him to get clowned at his own camp by some kid who's done nothing, honestly, for Cam, good for him. The way he handled it, it bothers me. And it's weird finding myself sticking up for Cam Newton, but man, that kid should know better. And his coaches obviously were embarrassed, and he put out this apology. But what a weird, unfortunate thing. I'm not sure I've ever seen anything like that. Have you?
No,
why would you go to a guy's camp if you were just going to go there to clown him?
Yeah, and it's really just how things are consumed too. The news cycle of the story. You get this 15, 20-second clip of Cam Newton, this kid going back and forth, and then everyone just reacting to that. Then you pull back, and like 2 days later, you get Cam Newton going to him and his team the day after, just trying to say, hey, what's up? That was ridiculous what popped off yesterday. Tell me about yourself and the team. And then it's like, oh, well, this, sorry. And then coming for circle back for the apology from the kid. And it's just like, what are we doing here? It's to the kid itself, like, man, bro, why'd you do that to your team? Like, it was fun in games. As Micah pointed out, you want to have some fun with Cam Newton. Like, if you're going to call him poor, what's he going to say? Yeah, I'm poor, I'm a free agent. No, he's played NFL quarterback, won an NFL MVP. Like, he's all right. Call him Scooby-Doo. Ask him about his fashion choices, because he just did an interview like a week or two ago saying that, yeah, that's an issue in his life. Fashion. Have some fun with that. The hats, the stuff he wears. You want to have a fun back and forth. But the dude, you want to start questioning him at his own football camp, not going to end well for you.
Yeah, Steve just sent me a text that fairly sure Cam has been a clown his whole career. I don't know. I mean, define clown. Yeah, he dresses funny. Yeah, I'm not sure I understand why either. I've never really
like his style.
Yeah, he dresses differently. He's done it differently. The stuff at Auburn, you can question the whole all that stuff with his dad and everything else, but he's out there on his like you think Cam Newton needs the money? Whatever. I'm going to guess he's not making a ton of money on this camp. Cam's made $100 million. Maybe he's gone through all of it, but I'm going to guess he hasn't. I'm just going to guess that's a lot of money to go through.
And I just want Cam Newton out. The Super Bowl was the worst moment in his career. Got punked by the Broncos defense. The fumble that is always going to be out there that he didn't dive on, that he takes a hit for, his post-game reaction. And then he had the moment where he questioned that female reporter. Like, there's been some issues, with Cam and post-game press conferences, which he has to acknowledge, and move on from. But he's a clown because he dresses funny. I guess if that's what you consider clown, but I'm pretty sure a statement like that's not just discussing his fashion choices. It's kind of making a statement on his personality overall.
Yeah, I just... Cam's not been... Look, Cam may not be a great leader. He might not be. In fact, I don't think he is a great leader. I think Cam's I'm not sure he is anymore, really talented quarterback, and I think he's been an incredible front runner. He has not handled adversity well, and I always thought Cam had some maturing to do, right? But it's out there giving back to the community, and some punk kid like that's going to come up on him. Like, and I can hear, well, he's just a kid. You can't blame it on the kid. You kind of can. At what point do you take responsibility for your own action? At some point when you're a 16, 17-year-old kid, you know what you're doing there. You're trying to get the attention. You're trying to make your boys laugh. See what I did to Cam? I stood up to Cam. Really? All right, bro.
And why it matters is to the point, the reaction that you just got, right? That 15 to 20-second clip by a lot of people, they're just going to pile on Cam Newton. They're like, see, this guy's a joke. He's terrible, this or that. And when you don't get the full story, the reactions you get.
Yeah. Why couldn't he pull the kid aside in private, Steve said? He doesn't handle himself professionally.
He wasn't filming it. Like, I mean, it could have been a moment where he's like, hey, everyone put away your phones.
But if he'd have pulled that kid aside, every camera would have been on him. What's he saying to him? Why is he pulling this kid aside? He went over to him and said, what do you do? Like, I want to get to know you. I honestly, I don't think he handled it poorly. Is he an attention seeker? I think he's always been an attention seeker. That's fine. But in this situation, I'm on Cam's side in this one. And I think that kid should be ashamed of himself.
Like, he was in the scrum the day after, going up to the kid and his teammates, and someone kind of in the back was filming it. And she just walked up there and said, put all your phones away.
Let me ask you this. How would most players... Give me anyone. Give me who's a free agent. How would Richard Sherman handle that? Richard Sherman's probably going to be a free agent from the Niners. Made a lot of money, Super Bowl champion. Man, you're broke. You're a free agent now. You ain't nothing. How would he have handled that? How would any grown man handle that? And I don't know the answer. I honestly don't. I'm rich. Sounds like, I get it. I understand how that sounds. I'm not telling you it was great. But you didn't go over there and slug the kid. I'm going to guess there's one or two guys that might have. How tough are you now, boy? Right? Man was a first-round pick, Super Bowl quarterback, former MVP, played 130-something games, made $100-something million. Missed, I think, 2 games in his career in the most violent game that there is in this country. And you opt to go to his camp and disrespect him? Come on now. Come on.
Well, it's just fascinating, too, the narratives that are built in the sports talk community, just in amongst fan bases, is you might not like, Cam Newton's fashion choices, and yeah, he's had some missteps, but ultimately that comes down on his character and who you think he is as a person overall, and which is why you do need kind of the whole story, and why when Cam Newton went back, was talking to the kid, talking to his team. That's kind of a big point in all of this to come out of it, because so many people went right to that narrative on Saturday. Yeah. Clown Cam Newton.
Yeah, I just don't think it applies here. He didn't seek this out. This sought him out. I'm gonna go the other way on this one. 505-246-0610. You can go whichever way you want. Want to hear your thoughts on that? Lobos play Air Force tonight. Basketball. Aggies get run out in football 43-17. We can get into the Jets and Sam Darnold conversation because I think we need to go there. And the APS stuff as well. And high school athletics. It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck, Micah, J. Pole, and Josh on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal and ProView Networks.
The Sports Bar.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Oh my gosh.
There's a long 3.
Boom.
Bang. Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go.
Ford driving kick. 3's in the air. It's good.
Pass on the nice block by Hernandez Cropper.
And Brown in the transition. But why not, Steve? Is Corbalon's going to go when he puts it away. And Corbalon wants to put it down. Here comes Screechers. Brown, you can't leave him alone. Put it down.
Gershon in transition, 3-on-2. Gershon going to go all the way. Whoa, Morgan. Ramos, rise and fire. He's fouled.
He used to coach for Del Norte. And
here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the. Behind the back of the dribble. Tries to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair. And Hotnet sent it away. Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. DC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku. Oh. Working against Watson. Oh, look at the spin move.
Ball's loose. DJ Bustos brings it up. Bars Tompkins, alley-oop. How about it? That was redunculous.
Turnover. Cable to the big fella might try to jam one home.
So, says Dave, Cam was heckled by a 16, 17-year-old kid who was being probably trying to show off to his friends, smack-talking Cam. And he responded by coming down to his level and acting just as immature, if not more immature than the kid. It's a bit embarrassing for both of them, but Cam's the one who's supposed to be a pro and act like a pro here. Cam was a mess at Florida and the JC. He was at before he went to Auburn. He kind of embarrassed himself more with his immaturity. So Dave's coming down on the other side, too. All right. 505-246.
Like, what happens on sidelines?
What do you mean?
Like, so Cam just was like, I'm rich. It was like a 15, 20-second clip. Then he came back the next day. You probably saw how it did blow up on social media. And was like, no, I don't want to do this to the kid or myself. Talks to him, talks to his team. Like, at what point does what he's doing for the community factor in?
Obviously,
like,
no
do people not change? Because there's just sure a whole lot of people that a lot of other stuff they look past for athletes, but they sure are hanging a lot of stuff on Cam Newton that he's not able to move on from or do work with the community or athletes.
Jeffrey, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, Jeffrey.
It is a beautiful morning. So yesterday my dad comes over, and I'm watching the rerun of the Australian Open, Djokovic. And I'm a big Djokovic fan. Anyway, my dad says, why are you watching tennis? And I was reminded of when I was a kid, my brother and I, we got tennis rackets. How we got that, I don't know. But we did 1974 maybe. And we lived in South Broadway, a blighted area, and kids would make fun of us, because we had tennis rackets and we were hitting the ball against the wall. This was so long ago, the tennis ball was still white. I think a year later, the fluorescent ball was introduced. Anyway, that's why I have this fascination with tennis. But we were always reviled because we played tennis. But we ended up using those rackets kind of as a weapon against those people we grew up with. Anyway, just some perspective. Between Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic, 58 major championships. And what's astounding about that number is all three, probably the three greatest tennis players of all time, are playing right now, in real time. So I know a lot of folks aren't that interested in tennis, but you're watching in the pantheon of tennis, the three greatest players right now, and between the three of them, 58 major championships. Is that incredible?
You know what's funny? This may be the greatest era of men's tennis, and it's taken a backseat to the women's game in large respect over the last decade.
Yeah, absolutely. And a part of that is possibly because there is not an American tennis player of any consequence on the tour. And also, I just wanted to touch on, you were contrasting Aggie football to Lobo basketball. I would argue from almost an inverted perspective that the descent of Lobo basketball is much more dramatic than the degradation of Aggie football, because they didn't really descend from a particular place. I mean, as recent as the Alford standard, Jeff, the Lobos were a championship team. I think they were a third seed in the NCAA tournament and relevant nationally. I remember Alford was on the Jim Rome shows and so forth. And right now, the standard is we hope they don't finish in last place. And, gee, they played with a lot of effort. So I think the descent is that dramatic. And it's pretty sad.
No, I think that's right, Jeffrey, and I appreciate the call. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Couple things on that. We were having a conversation last week, JJ, that really put it in perspective for me. We're talking about, wow, the Wyoming effort. What was the game before it? It had to be the Wyoming game, right? What was the first? I'm trying to remember the first game of the Wyoming series. Last Wednesday. It was a close game, right?
Overtime. Yeah, it went to overtime.
Yeah. And we were sitting there talking about, wow, that might have been their best effort of the season. That might have been the best they played, or at least the conference season. And I'm thinking, dang, their best effort of a conference season was enough to get them to overtime against a lower division Mountain West team. Like that's to Jeffrey's perspective, right? The best effort of the best game they played. If we think that was it, and I'm listening if you want to tell me there was a better one. If you want to tell me there one win against San Jose State, I'll listen. But their best game of the season was enough to get them to overtime against a lower division team in the Mountain West. That's where we are right now. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're a one-win conference team.
Yeah.
It's no surprise now they're a bad basketball team. The program is in a very bad spot, and there's a lot of factors to that. Ultimately, the main factor the last 4 years is the head coach, the main recruiter for this program.
That's where they are. On the tennis thing, it is interesting. Djokovic may end up being the career leader in Grand Slams by the time it's all said and done. But this year era with Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic is probably the best we've ever seen. It won't be that way considered. I mean, there's a lot of people who are going to go back to McEnroe, Connors, Borg, because there were a couple Americans in there, and I understand with McEnroe and Connors. And then when, to have Sampras as an American, that's when American tennis, and I do believe that's why the women's game has overshadowed the men's game in this country, because Venus and Serena have been so dominant, and more so Serena. But now Naomi Osaka goes out and wins the Australian. She beat Serena handily the other day. But those who love tennis, man, have sure gotten their share of it. All right, I got some more stuff on the Aggie football game, JJ. When we come back, what it cost the Aggies to play the game financially, and I'm going to give you a few more details that we've not really talked about that aren't going to make Aggie fan feel any better about this loss. Who wasn't playing, and how this thing's going to sting. We'll talk with Danny Nee tomorrow about it, the analyst over on Aggie Vision and the former Aggie great. But just a few more thoughts on it, because I got an email on this, and it's not going to make you feel any better. If you're here to feel better, stay. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
It's his second field goal. He's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off Romero. A 3 for
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good. Here's Ramos. Step back. High arcing. 20.
But he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, a little kick.
They leave it one more time to Hammer.
score again. Look at this.
Up top! Yes, and the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak, ahead of the pack to Davina Lovato. Up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
To create space, he gives it off to Rivas for the 3 and he buries it.
Gonna be coming in soon. Double quick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a
Around the screen against White. Step back. It's blocked. JB with the block.
in transition. Ahead to hit on. Hit on for the two-hand hammer.
Minutes to go. They've got a shot. They have a chance, and it's put up, and it's good. What a three that is by Jalen.
Sorry. Hito puts it up.
Rebound Cowboys. Right side David Hall. Thank you very much. Here come the Cowboys. Lamina Lovato lays it up. Missed it. Hey, how about it? Thank you, Luscious. Thank you very much, Raquan Mitchell. Clock at 6. They get it. Barnes Tompkins fires. Yes! Pass up court. This for the win. Blocked by DJ Bustos. Cowboys win. Cowboys win.
Moreno extra pass. And Watson. Out with it. Gallegos, and he's going to run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand. And
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
boy, Jefferson wide open.
Jefferson to Daraji! Into Watson with the jam!
Another steal by Davina Lovato, and here comes Agbayosi. Lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming. Devils is all over the place. Heck about the lob to Agbayosi, the one-hand hammer.
Put up. And a drive from Parham.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're
The Colin Cowherd Show, The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Back on our air starting today. 1 o'clock after the Jim Rome Show, you will hear The Herd every day, all 3 hours. Sports Bar will start at 4 with Carlisle and Trulio, and that's our new lineup. It's the opening drive starting at 7 a.m., going 7 to 10. Jim Rome Show after that from 10 to 1. The Herd with Colin Cowherd at 1 till 4, and then the Sports Bar in the afternoon. And it's here for you, and it starts today. It's the opening drive, Jeff Siembieda and J.J. Buck. All right, J.J., do you know what it cost the Aggies to play that football game yesterday?
What did it cost?
$150,000 for the guarantee to pay Tarleton State, and $10,000 for the use of the Sun Bowl. So it was $160,000. Tellus said, "Holy bleep, Jeffy! If I gave JJ $150,000 to kick me in the stones, and he lands flush, and I spend the next day throwing up and rolling around on the ground and withering in pain, that must be how fearless Dougie feels this morning." 43-17 was the final. Did you know that not only did Tarleton win the game, but that they had 5 starters, including their quarterback, out on COVID protocol? 2 linemen, their quarterback, their running back, and their receiver. Did you know that? Does that make you feel any better about it?
That makes you feel worse about it.
I mean, it makes you sick to your stomach, doesn't it?
That goes back to the conversation, adding more context to the full story. That is that's a normal game feed, right? Like, but they would probably regular season.
Yeah.
Oof. Was this something? Oof. Yeah.
I'm going to guess when they signed the deal, the Aggies figured they'd be getting some gate on it.
Yeah.
Right? They'd be able to get some people coming in to their stadium, and they'd make that money back. And then some. Do you know that the Aggies were outscored in the first, or outgained in the first half, 337-55? First half total yardage, 337-55. They were down 33-7 at halftime to a FCS team with a backup quarterback, 2 backup linemen, a backup running back, a backup receiver. And their only touchdown was on a kickoff return. That's why what you were reading on the social media was making people sick. That's why people felt the way they did. Again, I'm not going to sit here and blow up the program because of a loss in February in the Sun Bowl against Tarleton. But, yeah, I guess you do expect them to look better than that. Well, Jeff, they hadn't played in 450 days. They only practiced. I didn't expect them to win. I thought they would lose the game. I did. But I thought they'd lose the game 45-37-ish. Not 43-17 and get run out of the build. And that's where people are losing their mind.
Yeah, the seesaw is starting to tilt to the side that's weighted down by the negativity, and understanding how that can be overwhelming for a fan base, especially when you start adding those other factors into it. Like, it cost this school what to play this game, who wasn't available, and the final score was that.
Aggies crossed midfield offensively for the first time in the third quarter. I mean, yeah. And again, you got a junior college quarterback making his first start. You've got a team that hadn't played in 450. I'm just, the more I think about it, man, you better beat Dixie. What if they get beat by Dixie State 43-17? I mean, you can't fire your coach after losing 2 games to FCS schools in February, can you?
I would think not, but the fan base is going to want you to.
And it's probably going to cost $150,000 to play this next game too, right? $160,000. Wow. All right, it's a little worse than I thought. Now I dig into it a little bit. I mean, that one, yeah.
Goes from an exhibition game to, oh no. Oh, no.
I mean, it's just 43-17. Dang, Aggie fan. How you feeling? But then there's this. What's wrong with Lobo volleyball? Harold wants to know, JJ. Jeff, that first weekend in Nevada, they looked great. I was thinking head coach Tom Paul Glazer cleaning house in the offseason was really going to pay dividends, but they haven't played a lick since leaving Reno. Was the Wolfpack just that bad, or is it a case of other teams now have tape on this all-new squad and they've been able to make adjustments? Can you break down the Lobo volleyball team for me? Because I haven't had a chance.
They got the film. Now it's on the in-set adjustments that are needed at the net.
I mean, help me, because I'm not sure. All right, Lobo basketball tonight against Air Force. They're going to win tonight. They're going to beat Air Force tonight. That's right, I said it.
I was going to say it, now I'm worried.
Air Force is a 1-point favorite. They're going to beat Air Force tonight.
Has anything gone our way when we've agreed on something this year when it comes to basketball? I'm not sure.
No, although, okay, so we both took we both took Wyoming and laid the 6 in the first game on Wednesday, and we were going to get beat until it went overtime, and then Wyoming covered the 6 in overtime. So we would have won that one.
Check.
Right? We're both like, that's all it is? Huh? Wow, what the hell? And then it goes overtime, and we're like, we don't know a damn thing. The hell do those two idiots know? No, seriously. Malwatch, over under 18.5 points. Coming off of a 30-point effort.
30-point game. If they win. Oh, Mike is going on. Are you taking the Air Force tonight then?
Yep.
Oh.
Okay, I'll go on the under on Malwatch, 18.5.
I'm saying Malawat scores 19.3 points tonight, and they win.
19.3. I'm just saying, I just think there's going to be a lesser possession game.
I think it'll be 17.3.
Ooh, damn. It's 7 a.m. All right, I'm going to go with an even number. I'm going to go 16. I think it's going to be an even number of points for Malawatch tonight. Somebody out there's going, how do you score 17.3? What the hell are these idiots talking about?
Prices right each other.
Yeah,
right.
These idiots.
$1. What?
Is that like both teams scoring in the top of the first inning? What? Yeah. What the hell is that? All right. Lobo baseball go today too. Did they get the finale of that series? Coming off of their big win over Kansas State. Yeah, they may get Oregon State again. All right. So that's what you get today. We didn't get in. Did you real quick? Nets winning, sweeping that West Coast trip and beating the Clippers yesterday without KD means something, does it not?
Absolutely. It was the exclamation point, given the fact that Kawhi Leonard and Paul George were back in the lineup. It was their second game back. Yes, they were. Did you see Paul George?
Did you see Paul George at the end of that game?
It was on the Clippers for being ridiculous and not putting him on the floor for the final 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Because of his minutes limit. It's 2 minutes and 50 seconds, and it takes 18 minutes to play the final 2 minutes anyway. He would have been fine had you let him finish that game.
How do you not let him finish that game? How do you go into what's the point of counting minutes? But yet we're going to go into a last one possession scenario down the stretch with one of the best teams in the league, and you're not going to play that guy, and he's going to be sitting there, and all I'm going to do is look at him on my camera sitting on the bench. What's the point of having him?
It's doing too much.
So I can watch Steve Ballmer squirm?
And realize, you know what, Paul George is going to be okay if he plays an extra 2 minutes and there's going to be like 18 timeouts in that 2 minutes. Like, he'll be all right.
I just, give me more Steve Ballmer squirming in his chair by himself. It just looks like a depressed old bald guy who has no friends sitting by himself, like so awkward, right under the basket. It's like that's, to me, the weirdest thing in sports these days is Steve Ballmer.
Steve Ballmer at the game by himself courtside.
The Clippers
all the guys are always like at the free throw line just looking like, is he okay? He's kind of...
What the hell? And he's kind of got these weird hand motions and like tapping his palm. What the hell are you doing? It's just, golly. All right. That's what we got for you today. Tomorrow, Danny Nee's going to be with us. Get you a little more insight from an Aggie alum and Aggie analyst on what that game meant. I don't know, man. Can you have a must-win football game in March? Have you ever heard of such a thing?
Trending that way. I was a little surprised last night. Like, man, the reaction. And you start diving into it, getting more and more and more, and that hole just looks like it's getting a little bit deeper.
Yeah. All right, Jim Rome Show is next. The Herd with Colin Cowherd. We'll follow that at 1. The Sports Bar with Trulio and Carlisle at 4 this afternoon. Lobo basketball tonight over on News Radio KKOB. And then we're back with award-winning radio for you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. J. Paul, Josh, great work. Micah, as always, terrific. Enjoy the day, yay.
Have a day, Al.
Go out and be good to each other, please. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. Smell you tomorrow.
I'll just get a little closer. Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what he'll just shoot it. He's going to go all the way.
He's going to fire at the buzzer, and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much.
Tie in the district. Inside, fly, Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this. Stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Couldn't have said that any better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer. Back to back for Chavez.
To the paint. Medina from the volleyball lines. Medina wants another one from deep. Oh, he wants 10. Give him 10.
Lewis finds Watson. He's going to finish. One-handed slam. Handle Vista, but just all the different scenarios we could see potentially play out ahead of the state tournament.
Hill, the senior pops.
Oh! Ho, ho, ho!
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.